In the shadow of California's gold-crusted peaks, where the Central Pacific Railroad carved its iron veins through living stone, something woke up. It was 1880. The Summit Tunnel, 9,000 feet above sea level, 6,000 feet of granite hell, was swallowing men whole. Not by collapse or cave-in. These souls stepped aboard one end and never stepped off the other. 6 gone, just like that. No bodies, no screams echoing out, but survivors babbled of whispers from the rock. Voices mimicking loved ones. Come closer, and shadows in the smoke that wore the faces of the vanished. These ain't legends. These are the fated truths, ripped from court records, engineer logs, and coroner's inquests buried in Sacramento archives. The kind of history they dynamite to forget. If you're new here on Fated Truths History, your haunt for America's buried horrors, smash that subscribe. Drop a comment. Ever felt eyes on you in a tunnel? Or heard your name whispered in stone? What carved that tunnel? Nitroglycerin fumes so thick they peeled paint off lungs. And something older, hungrier, stirred by 40 dead laborers whose blood soaked the granite. High in the Sierra Nevada, where winter winds howled like gut-shot coyotes and carved ice daggers from granite spines, the Central Pacific Railroad declared war on the mountains in 1868. Summit Tunnel wasn't some pickaxe scratch in soft dirt. No, this was a 6,000-foot gauntlet bored through Sierra White, the densest, most unforgiving stone west of the Mississippi. Chinese laborers, 12,000 of them imported like cattle from Canton docks, swung sledgehammers by the flicker of whale oil lanterns. Their breath hung in frozen clouds, mingling with the acrid bite of nitroglycerin, that Swedish devil's brew smuggled in by the barrel. One blast at a time, 50 feet a day. If the rock didn't fight back, they clawed the bore forward. But nitro didn't just shatter granite. It wormed into the fissures like black sap, staining the stone with its oily venom, turning air to poison soup that clung to skin and seeped into marrow. The dead started dropping by late 1869, slow and ugly. Not the quick crunch of a cave-in or the flashbang mercy of a misfired charge. Those were God's clean work. These boys suffocated from the inside out. Skin yellowed like tobacco spit, veins bulging black under the eyes, noses bleeding rivers that crusted into candle wax plugs. Coroner's logs from Donner Summit, brittle pages stamped with blue ink tucked away in Sacramento's dusty vaults, roll column like a miner's tally. Li Wong, 24, asphyxiation, found wedged in drill scar, fingers locked on steel bit. Ah Sing, 19, convulsions, foam flecked with quartz grit, mouth agape like he'd swallowed the mountain whole. Chen Lao, 32, bled from ears, eyes popped like overripe huckleberries. 40 names by 70, stacked in shallow cuts along the east approach, their graves marked with chalk-scratched claim stakes. Newspapers in Virginia City dismissed it as tunnel fever or China lung, but the Irish foreman, red-whiskered hardcases like Patrick Delaney, spat tobacco and muttered darker truths. Delaney's journal, leather-bound and booze-stained, survived a house fire in '92 and surfaced in a Reno pawn shop. The granite drinks deep of our nitro and our blood. Last shift heard voices through the face. English accents, not celestial jabber. Let us out, they begged, like sinners clawing purgatory. Rock wept yellow tears that night. Flash to 1880. Tunnels christened, rails thrum with the pulse of empire. Freight drags groaning under Nevada silver, passenger coaches rattling with painted ladies, claim jumpers clutching deed papers, and sallow emigrants chasing El Dorado mirages. Steam whistles pierced the thin air at 9,000 feet, mocking the bleached bones of ox yokes littering the passes. Central Pacific brass in San Francisco puffed cigars over profit ledgers, blind to the granite's grudge. Nitroglycerin residue festered in microcracks, a volatile stew of carbon, nitrogen, and ghosted labor sweat, waiting for the iron thunder of wheels to shake it loose. First vanishings cracked the facade like a fault line. April 12th, freight number 47 steams east at 2:17 a.m., coal smoke fouling the stars. Engineer Amos Hale, a grizzled Ohio farm boy turned throttle monkey, logs all clear in his grease pencil scrawl. 6 souls in the boxcars, 3 Cornish miners humping quartz sacks stamped with Grass Valley assays. A one-eyed peddler hawking bolt cloth and patent nostrums. Saloon girl Ellie Burke, 22, with rouged cheeks and a velvet reticule stuffed with love letters, and her kid brother Timmy, 10, all freckles and gap teeth, gnawing jawbreakers from a paper twist. Train plunges into the east portal, lanterns guttering as walls close in. A 19-minute gut churn through Stygian black. West mouth spits it out at 2:36, steam curling like graveyard fog. 5 accounted for. Timmy Burke? Vanished cleaner than a pickpocket's mark. No cap, no boot prints in the cinders, no smear of blood on tie beams. Ellie Burke claws at the Pinkerton dick sent from Sacramento, her voice frayed to a screech. Walls breathed, mister. Grabbed my Timmy like flypaper, sucked him crack side. I heard him laugh, then gurgle. Sheriff's inquest, held in a Truckee saloon, pinned it on boyish wanderlust. But Hale's log tells different. Locomotive froze dead mid-bore for 91 seconds, no throttle twitch. Pressure gauges pinballed wild. Rock dust vortexed into shapes. Tiny fists pounding glassless windows, mouths stretched in rictuses. Passengers clutched benches, swearing the air hummed with a child's giggle warped through a tin horn. Word raced the telegraph wires like smallpox. May 3rd. Overland Flyer passenger coach. Widow Margaret Poole, 38, black bombazine and Widow's Peak, bound for Reno kin. Last seen fussing a lace doily mid-car. Train rolls west, emerges shy one soul. Cushion still warm, corset lace hooked on an iron bolt like a suicide's noose. Fellow riders, Bible thumpers mostly, crossed themselves raw. Heard her plain as preaching, Maggie girl, come home to Jesus. Pinkerton swarmed the bore with bullseye lanterns and redbone hounds. Dogs tucked tails, bayed at seams, then bolted for pine scrub. Engineer reports stacked like cordwood. Trains breaking phantom-like, wheels locking on straightaways. Vents hissing whispers in Gaelic, Cornish burr, even Cantonese scraps. One brakeman, half mad, sketched a face etched in the granite face. Delaney's mug, grinning through quartz veins. June brought the Nitro reckoning. Dr. Elias Hawthorne, Union Pacific sawbones yanked from Omaha cholera wards, pitched a canvas tent at the east portal, his assay kit gleaming like a surgeon's tray. Microscope slides caught the truth. Granite honeycombed with nitroglycerin ghosts. Nitrites and nitrates leaching under rail vibe, birthing yellow mists that clawed eyeballs and pickled brains. Tunnel phantoms. He dubbed them in chronicle wires, half science, half shaman. Hawthorne grubbed up laborer graves in the cut-and-cover yard. Skulls caved inward like sucked eggshells. Orbits crusted yellow nitrocrystals. Femurs warped into devil's pitchforks. Mountain don't forget. He scrawled in a dispatch gone stray till 23. 40 ain't satiety. It craves fresh vintage. The living spill. July 14th. Witching hour. Hawthorne's argon lamp flares on shadow play at the east bore, 20 feet overhead in a nitro-stained scar. Child-height silhouette, tar black against quartz gleam, beckons with a tiny hand. Timmy Burke's piping treble, pure as spring water. Doc, it's cozy warm in the stone. Crawl in. Plenty room. Hawthorne snaps off a derringer round. Boom echoes eternal. Figure puffs to glittering dust. But his vaulted report, pried loose in a 1923 probate sale, plates the scar post autopsy. 5 visages now, fused in nitroquartz, Delaney's leer, Poole's pious pout, Timmy's candy-smeared grin, plus 2 unnamed Cornish ghosts, tongues lolled in eternal thirst. Rock didn't bury the dead. It wore 'em like masks, spoke their cadences, lured bloodkin with honeyed lies. By August, the curse owned the line. 4 more snuffed. Mostly minors, double-teaming quartz claims, hearing phantom "Hiya, lads" from old partners. One peddler pitched into a crevice, claw marks striating his palms. A drummer vanished clutching his sample case, later found embedded in a wall seam. Case burst open to nitro-yellow bolts. Central Pacific suits shoveled hush money and ironclad oaths, but the granite's chorus swelled. Blood and nitro fused the hunger. The rock hungered still. September 1880 hit the Sierra like a hammer on an anvil, turning Donner Summit into a furnace of pine tar and iron sweat. Central Pacific brass in San Francisco puffed Havana cigars over ledger books fat with Nevada silver freight, barking orders to keep the rails screaming regardless of the body count. Summit Tunnel swallowed its daily ration. Overland flyers groaning under silk-hatted speculators chasing Virginia City strikes. Gravel trains dumping basalt for the Nevada push. Immigrant hoppers lashed to undercarriages like human grapples, their queues whipping in coal exhaust. Engineers knotted oily bandanas over scarred noses, choking yellow nitro wisps that clawed throats raw. But the whispers had evolved. No longer faint stone murmurs mocking the dead. Now they slithered through journal boxes, rode steel flanges like parasites, turning the trains into liars with iron tongues. The first ironclad vanishing scorched the logs September 7th. Mixed freight number 12 out of Truckee at 4:42 p.m. Locomotive consolidated number 117. A coal-hungry beast with cylinders scarred from 78 floods. Conductor Riley O'Toole, Freckled Mick with a peg leg whittled from Shasta oak, souvenir of a Civil War derailment, chalked the manifest precise. 14 cars heavy with borax crystals and newsprint bundles, 28 souls scattered like dice. Caboose packed 4 Cornish hard rock devils, bearded as patriarchs, swapping clotted pasties and yarns of Dalcoath tin depths where men breathed arsenic mist. Swedish widow Ingrid Larsson, 41, pinch-faced under widow's bonnet, clutching a tin trunk hammered with Lutheran psalm etchings. 2 St. Louis drummers peddling barbed wire samples and sour mash flasks. 6 Chinese section hands thumbing free rides to Sacramento tongs, dice cups rattling in burlap pokes. Train dives east portal, lanterns sputtering as granite jaws clamp shut. 19 minutes of gut punch black, walls slick with summer seep. West mouth spits it at 5:01, steam coiling like a hangman's noose in pine dusk. Station master counts 24 stumbling off, snow blind and cinder choked. 4 Cornish gone cleaner than a pharaoh cheat's sleeve. No boot leather, no pasty grease on slats, no blood stars on gravel beds. Ingrid Larsson claws her shredded weeds, bonnet ribbons dangling like flayed veins, and spits broken English at the gawking agent. Doubles in the smoke, hair, saw me own face twice. First mine, pale as smur, then grinning troll with black peg teeth, eyes like hammered slag. Grabbed Sven's arm, me Bror from Göteborg, yanked to rails. Rails munch, ya? Swallowed with bone crunch, spit out shadows. O'Toole's grease pencil log, pawned by his widow in Reno 88, confesses the unnatural. Throttle jammed wide open mid-bore, no hand near the lever. Oil lamps flared blue-green corpse fire sans kerosene. Passengers jammed benches, swearing doppelgangers, ghosted grimy window panes. Mirror selves mouthing drowned pleas. Faces sloughing to quartz vein smears, fingers tapping glass in Morse desperation. Pinkerton swarmed like maggots on a gut-shot steer. Lead Dick Harlan Crow, ex-Reb sharpshooter with a saber-split lip from Shiloh, flooding the bore with bullseye lanterns, Winchester repeaters, and redbone hounds baying nitro rot. Crow's first wire to Sacramento crackles urgency. Phantom's 8 passengers dead on. Mimic voices pitch perfect. Family secrets, Gaelic sins, lovers' names from Galway wakes. Boxcars exit gutted, walls swell like gorged leeches. His crew chisels seam at mile 2.3, dynamite pop a boot sole, Cornwall Tin Company, 1878, stamped clear. Fused soft as putty in nitro-crystalled granite, lace eyelets threaded with quartz hairs. But the iron beasts laughed last. Crow rigs tripwires, logs anomalies, couplers clanking empty rhythms, brake shoes glowing cherry red unbidden. October ramped the madness. October 19th, Reno Limited. The line's gilded whore with velvet squabs, crystal spittoons, and gas chandeliers plunges east with 47 souls. Portly bankers fingering stock certificates for Comstock loads. Hurdy-gurdy doxies rouged for Virginia City cat houses. Circuit preacher Amos Black with brimstone tracks and a snake oil satchel. 22 minutes black emerges Shy 3. Banker Elias Thorne, pot-bellied with pince-nez and a gold fob stamped Omaha 79, plus twin doxies Lily and Rose. Feather boas shedding iridescent barbs. Preacher Black staggers out raving, Bible pulp in fists. Iron sang canticles backward, locusts in Hebrew. Thorne rose for vespers. Shadow sloughed his brogans like snakeskin, hauled him floorboard deep. Shadow wore his mug, tipped plug hat courtly, winked my damnation. Gauges scripted apocalypse. Wheels free-spinning locked axles. Boiler temp vaulting 40 degrees in sub-zero draft. Vents birthing dust devils pinstriped as Wall Street sharks. Crow drills test bores. Every third strikes marrow. Bone splinters, a gold molar, Thorn Dental, Omaha, pinky nail, lacquered whore red. November locked the terror in black ice. Portals sheathed 3 feet deep, but nitro serpents coiled defiant in beam splitter glows. Freight number. 89 wallowed borax from Death Valley's crust. Salt-rimed gondolas creaking like old men's knees. Lost 3 Mexican vaqueros mid-haul. Pistoleros bound Fresno cantinas. Silver conchos glinting. Sole survivor Juan Morales. Face cragged as Badlands. Crosses raw to coroner. Mi hermano Pedro scoffed ghost fog. Fog sculpted his Novia Maria. Drowned 78 Arroyo Flash. Cooed his name Honey Sweet. Dragged coupler ward. Otros dos chased sus muertos. Abuelas whispering ven. Mijo. Niños giggling juega. Rails bellowed feast slaughter. Morales inks smoke wraiths on feed sack. Flawless portraits, orbits nitro sinkholes, mouths stretched pasty-crammed grins. Panic-birthed freaks. Central Pacific scraped ghostbusters from Frisco's underbelly. China Alley Tong shamans burning joss till vents choked incense ghosts. Mormon exorcists trucked from polygamist raids with great salt vials and Urim Thummim peepstones. Tong wizard Li Wei, pigtail-greased wolf fat, chants gui-gui litanies mid-bore. Foxfire joss summoning ancestors. Mists curdled thick. Q-tailed silhouettes hatch. Drill-scarred coolies beckoning with pick fingers curled like hooks. Mormon elder Heber Cartwright sluices holy brine, thunders Leviticus till throat shreds. Gauges frenzy, coupler chain parts phantom, gondolas jackknife echo madness. Li Wei flees minus pinky, lopped surgical, nailed next dawn in tie beam, digit frozen mid-warding knot. Dr. Hawthorne hauls back, ribs showing like washboard, hauling bellows rigs pumping nitro scrubbers into vents. December 3rd, scrubber number, 7 at mile, 4.2 vacuums missed. Ejecta vial clots, yellow suppuration webbed human hair, blonde doxy curls, thumbnails, minor calloused, Thorne's gold molar grinning independent. Hawthorne's black market assay to chronicle, penned pre-82 laudanum suicide, nitro ferments the slain. Rail thrum animates residue, echoes harden to hunt. Bloodkin trigger resonance, ghost train calls unfinished debts, drowned sweethearts, unborn spawn, Galway oaths. He blueprints doom, spring thaw swells the vein, rails sing blood loud. Winter crowned the carnival. January 1881. Blizzard special, emergency Kohler for Donner shovels, Nate, one lung Riley throttling, O'Toole's nephew, consumptive wheeze like busted harmonica. 19 souls, section wives fleeing Reno cribs, babes swaddled newsprint, bore center, number 203 dies cold. Lanterns choke, pitch void. Then him, rails drone dirges dozen tongues, Cornish keens, Swedish psalms, Spanish loros. Walls slap wet, breathing gorged. 2-hour claw out west side, 7 ghosts shy. Riley bubbles black froth to crow, mugs in every pane. Uncle Riley peg-leg jig, Cornish pasty-lipped, waved eternal crew. Lead wife drops stillborn mid-panic, cord shadow sawn, meconium nitro yellow veins. Pinkerton's ghost by February, toll 14. Central Pacific skirts summit with lanterns when moonless, governors bribed mute. Truckee saloons slosh engineer confessions, throttles self-wrenching, brake lead melting shoes, endless ghost cars splicing trains. Benches barren, doppels beckoning flask tips. Crow torches logs last, wires epitaph, no specters, echo vats. Granite replays screams, cues living. Trains scratch the platter. Who's the needle's supper? Rails thrummed defiant. Granite donned stolen mugs boulder. Peg leg jigs in smoke veins. Whispers shotgun now. Seats toasty for kin blood. February 1881 gripped Donner Summit like a corpse fist. Blizzard scouring the passes with ice talons that flayed pine bark to red ribbons, drifts piling 40 feet against the east portal timbers. Central Pacific's gold vein couldn't freeze. Silver freight from Comstock loads and Reno speculators demanded iron passage, no matter the ghost toll climbing to 14. Pinkertons had cut tail like whipped hounds. Harlan Crow's final wire, Echo Vats feast eternal, moldering in Sacramento's vaulted crypts under Leland Stanford's cigar ash. The boardroom vultures dispatched a Black Ops Legion, no badges or scalpels this time. A nitro alchemy cabal fusing railroad engineering with Sierra shamanism. Dr. Elias Hawthorne, laudanum-eyed scarecrow with fingers stained yellow from assay vials, took command, flanked by Army Corps blasters fresh from Antietam powder magazines and Bay Area shadow players. Madame Helena Voss, Frisco's crystal-veiled spiritualist queen, her scrying cabinet crated direct from Viennese seances. Father Josiah Kane, Jesuit wolf exiled from Montana Blackfoot, hunts for serpent-tongued rites. And Tong sorcerer Li Wei, recalled from China Alley's Gai Wars, pigtail greased with wolf fat, satchel of ancestor talismans clinking like dry bones. Hawthorne's canvas fortress erupted at the east, bore like a suppurating wart on granite flesh. Walls rigid with rime, Bunsen jets stabbing blue under nitro jackhammer rigs pumping steam through vein probes. Dawn assay, February 9th. Arc lamps humming hornet swarms. Core rods hammered mile 3.8, wrenching free granite entrails weeping yellow ichor. Nitroglycerin nitrates gloamed around horrors. Bone shivers. Cornish femur splints calloused from Dalcoth grips. Hair skeins, Doxy brunette ringlets frizzed nitro stiff, Timmy Burke's freckle fair mop. A warped fob watch dial, E. Thorne, Omaha 79 with hands frozen at 236, West Emergence. Hawthorne's microscope slides, glassed clandestine to a Reno daguerreotypist pre-plunge, unveil the abomination, nitro radicals snaring post-mortem proteins into chain gangs, rail thrum vibrating them live, screams etched quartz permanent like Edison grooves. Ciphered field ledger, cracked in 1902 probate heist, no phantoms, resonance forges, dead chemistry replays, ledgered sins, bloodkin bait by harmonic scent, tunnel, cannon primed. Trains, sparkwad. Voss swept in at noon gale, bombazine veils whipping like flayed hides, her 6-inch bohemian orb, quicksilver veined, throned in ebony, throbbing under lace mitts scarred from Viennese poltergeist burns. No gaslight flimflam, nitro ether-tuned the quartz lattice, trapping 40 laborer howls plus passenger echoes in crystalline phonotographs. Test alpha, orb chained to gravel flat car, mule-hauled slow bore under torch squid. Mile 2.9, O'Toole peg boot scar, orb milks opaque, voices tin canning through, pasty cold lads, hia, deeper, drill for tin. Voss's gloves shred phantom nailed, chain yanks mule backward as grips manifest, cold as mineshaft drafts. Flat car breaks solo, orb spider cracks to birth etchings, Riley's pegleer, Ingrid's psalm pout, Sven Larsson's slag-eyed troll, permanently grooved. Vain audits debts, she wheezes Hawthorne ward, orb shards chiming like funeral bells. Drowned novias coo unpaid dowries, betrayed claims summon claim jumpers, infanticide hushes birth screams eternal. Granite books flesh ledgers, exacts toll in living ink. Cane thundered duskward, cassock threadbare from Blackfoot scalp dances, satchel sagging Vatican reliquaries, splintered True Cross slivers, silver nitrate vials Pope blessed, and a Blackfoot ghost bundle cribbed from Salish shamans. Doctrine, nitro demonic flux, brazen Chinese guy shrieks with Irish bean cowie wails into quartz-caged archfiend. Ritual prime, February 11th, 2 a.m. Blizzard zenith, portals barricadoed with balks hewn from Donner Party pines, torches guttering 50-foot drifts. Kane mounts railcart pyre, sensor belching frankincense fog banks, belting hybrid right, Latin gutturals mash tong Cantonese, exorcismus te, gui gui wang. Hawthorne triples scrubber pistons. Voss keens Enochian over shard mandala. Lee Wei burns Joss Foxfire, Q whipping ancestor summon. Gauges apoplexy. Pressure spears burst red. Rails keen legion dirge fusing Kane. Padre, Lee. Debts drag you under. Hellmouth yawned. Coupler chains lash viperine, coiling Kane's ankles. Yards of drag before Voss hatpins the links. Shard orb levitates, stitching aerial thorn molar smirk. Mile center nitro geyser fountains, yellow jet painting wall venograms. 40 coolie graves throbbing cardiac, overlaid ghost passengers clawing kin. Q pigtails drill pantomime, Cornish beards pasty crumbed. Mexican abuelas croon mijo, ven acá. Shadow lunge Vossward. She caterwauls as fingers slough her veil, eyes rolling nitro pearl. Leeway's talismans ignite spontaneous pigtail singeing as coolie silhouettes hook pick his shadow. Hawthorne derringer flares blind, blast crumples prop timber, ritual implodes in timber crunch. Dawn butcher's bill, Voss catatonic, drooling Swedish vespers reversed. Kane's ankles gnawed shard shin, reliquaries flux to dross puddles. Leeway pinkyless again, talisman ash tattooed on palm. Debt paid, scrawled phantom. Hawthorne's traps regurgitate reliquary, blizzard meconium clots, pool lace doilies thorned flesh flake, barbed wire spurs doxy lacquered. Army blasters muscle in. Captain Amos Greer, Antietam powder savant with dueling scars, hauls Hercules ton. Rigged sequential vein purge. East portal pops cascading microfractures, belching nitrospecters skyward. February 15th, fuses sparked under Voss shards. Stick 1 shard's quartz leers to ballast. 2 vents Timmy giggle vapor. Blowout 7th, mile 4.2 chain blasts berserk. Granite disgorging 300-foot dust pharynx blanking Truckee 3 days. Crew drags Greer's husk. Ribs chicken wire round fused Cornish pickhead. Eyes nitro boiled. Voss orb kernel endures. Walnut fist pulsing innards. Doll train procession eternal. Ghost cabooses beckon barren benches. Doppels flask tipping. Hawthorne needles it. Nitro womb germ. Curse kernel. Blasts gestated prince. Kane, Poultice Feral dubs it mountain spawn egg. Vatican smuggles pre-Montana vanish. Leaks crookeded spring. March thaw engorges vein. Rails blood thrum. Ghost consists splice live runs. Speculators glimpse infinite processions mid-bore. Doppels hawking kin benches. Stanford sues Voss gagged. Torches Hawthorne bivouac. Suicide ash sieved. Greerkin deeded silver claims misadventure. Egg trails Salt Lake vault till 92 lift. Lore whispers Virginia City hatch. Seeding mimic haunts. Kane's rifle stock epitaph. Carved pre-trail ghost. No banish. Brood. Granite pharaoh demon. Dynamite flopped. Choral whispers, Legion script sins mid-throttle. Nitro curse unbroken. Incubated royal. April 1881 thawed the Sierra into a sluice of mud and malice. Rails warping under ghost thrum as the Nitro prince stirred in its walnut womb. Central Pacific brass, faces gray as bank drafts, decreed the summit bore quarantined. Reroutes snaked south through Altamont Pass when freight loads permitted. Lanterns tripled on night runs. Engineers dosed with bromide to dull the whispers. But the curse didn't sleep. It metastasized. Ghost trains spliced live consists mid-bore. Passengers glimpsed phantom cabooses tacked eternal. Doppels in pinstripe shadows hawking barren benches with flask tips and pasty crumbs. Leland Stanford's vault swallowed the egg orb whole, crated to a Carbondale side tunnel under Pinkerton Guard, but cracks spidered its quicksilver veins nightly, leaking coral sins scripted for kin blood. Papa, your claims jumped. Maria waits, mijo. First post-ritual vanishings clawed May 5th. Overland number 23 out of Sacramento. 47 souls, mostly Comstock widows repatriating silver heirs. Boar Center, throttle man Pete Whiskey Gilligan logs uncommanded stall. Vents birthing yellow harp strings that plucked Cornish keens. Ingrid Larson's psalm warps. 4 widows gone. Corsets snagged tie beams. Lace doilies nitro-stitched to seats. Survivor Deacon Hale, Amos's brother, claws rosary beads raw. Saw Thorne's banker shade. Fob ticking 236 eternal. Waved ledgers. Your boy's debt, Deacon. Pay in heirs. Rails slurped 'em floorboard deep. Shadows giggling Timmy pitch. Gilligan's gauges etched apocalypse. Boiler cold spiking nitro blue. Wheels etching figure 8s on locked steel. Morse for come join. By June, the egg hatched crooked. Vault guards at Carbondale heard walnut cracks echo bore deep. Quicksilver tendrils snaking grout lines toward mainline. June 19th, Virginia-bound express loses 7. 3 Mexican vaqueros chasing Fresno kin. 2 Cornish cousins double-teaming Dolcoth claims. A Frisco drummer with Voss's stolen scrying shard in his poke. Train emerges Altamont rerouted, but passengers swear ghost splice mid-run. Endless procession of summit phantoms tacked seamless. O'Toole peg-jigging caboose. Thorne molar grin in velvet squab. Coolie cues drill pantomiming gondolas. Drummer's widow pawns the shard in Reno. Inside, miniaturized egg throb shows doll trains whelping tinier shades, beckoning with pinky stumps. Leeway's echo. Central Pacific's hush cracked wide. Sacramento B leaks July 1881. Summit fiend devours 28. Nitro Devil or Devil's Nitro. Fueled by Kane's Montana ghost letter, postmarked Salish trails. Egg-pharaohed prince, not banished, brooded. Granite's royal bloodline hunts dynasties. Thorne heirs, O'Toole nephews, Burke Frecklestock. Reroutes feed it iron lullabies. Stanford sues papers silent. Deeds Greerkin silver claims as blast misfire. Torches Hawthorne's ash-sieved bivouac official. Voss, catatonic in Frisco asylum, scrawls bedsheets, Enochian. Vein engorged, Prince suckles rail thrum eternal. Leeway vanishes China Alley, Tongs whispering Gui Wang reborn, pigtail prince. 1882 birthed the Haunts empire. Reroute engineers log copycat curses. Altamont bore, New Cut south, whispers Gaelic scraps, walls bulging pegliers. Truckee siding yields boot soles fused fresh, stamped Cornwall 81. Central Pacific Commission's Nitro Synod, Stanford-funded boffins assaying egg fragments smuggled stateside. Harvard mineralogist Percival Lodge dispatched incognito, Coors Carbondale vault, nitro quartz lattice replicating DNA-like. Laborer screams as base codons, Passenger sins as mutations, evolving under vibration to hunt optimal kin. Lodge's 1883 monograph, pulped on Stanford orders, sketches prophecy, Tunnel Sires dynasty. By 1900, every bore west hums its choir. Remedy, starve the rails or become the song. Decade twisted darker. 1890, egg theft rocks Carbondale. Vault cracked cleaner than bank heist. Quicksilver puddle etched Virginia City hatch. Comstock saloons buzz Prince lore. Ghost trains splicing Virginia mine shafts. Load jumpers vanishing to doppelledgers. Burke descendants, Ellie Line, Fresno settled. Report freckle kids giggling jawbreakers at night, vanishing to summit dreams. O'Toole peg nephews derail Truckee mains. Bodies fused rail seam, grins peg eternal. 1892, Kane surfaces Salish camp. Feral preacher carving rifle stocks. Prince hunts bloodlines. Exercise by dynasty end, slay all heirs. Disappears post-sermon, scalp Blackfoot trophy. By 1900, Central Pacific, now Southern Pacific merger, seals Summit Auxiliary bore permanent dynamiting portals under Army guard, but echoes mock eternity. 1905, Reno auction pawns cursed gravel. Nitro yellow ballast chipped mile 4.2, whispering high lads under hammer tap. 1923, Hawthorne probate leaks cipher ledger. Prince immortal, rails its cradle. Starve iron, impossible. Empire's pulse. Modern surveys, 1979 Altamont abandonment. Find bores, honeycombed nitro veins pulsing faint under Geiger. Bone shards, gold molars, lace relics glinting quartz. Today, drone cams snake summit derelicts. Walls etched dynasty faces. Thorn scions, Burke gap teeth, O'Toole pegs, mouths agape mid-keening, waiting rail revival. Amtrak zips Altamont shadows, conductors dose bromides still. Descendants shun passes, Fresno Burke's veil mirrors, Comstock Thorns deed claims airless. Nitro Prince endures, suckling freight thrum eternal. Faded truths, history sign-off, Summit's song ain't silenced. Next freight rumble wakes it. Drop comments, felt whispers in a tunnel? Subscribe, lest your echo joins the choir.